presentation is going to be Event Marketing 101, how to plan for your event, the accountant and bookkeeper edition. So just to speak a little bit about this, this was a work in progress over the last 2 years of a collective of information that I've acquired while working with accountants and bookkeepers to help them plan events to be successful. So I learned a lot of what to do and not to do and how to think about it. And this is my first attempt at planning to share this information out with the general public, and hopefully you find it useful and it'll work for you too. The first things first, I'm Jeremy Burke. I am a business development manager for Intuit Canada. Bragging rights, I was actually the first business development manager in Canada, and I live here in the super frigid Edmonton, Alberta. It's sitting at a minus 35 today with wind chill, so this is a fantastic day to be able to do a webinar. So thank you for joining. Housekeeping, what we're going to do is we're going to try to be interactive. So if you look in the top right hand corner, there's a chat button there. You can send chats to actually, if you look under the participants, you can sit there and everyone, and you can chat with everybody or individual people. So I recommend do and ask questions. Corey, who is also on my team out of Toronto, will be monitoring the chat so that I can keep on track. Please mute your audio, and so that we don't get any feedback in the background. And there's no need to take notes. What I'll do is I'm going to upload this presentation into a Google Drive, and I will send this email out to, actually, I got a LinkedIn slide share here. I'll upload it to that, and then I'll share it out with everybody, and the recording of the event as well too. If you guys are Twitter type people, I have created a Twitter link, so it's hashtag Intuit Event Marketing 101. So please do throw down some tweets. If you like what you're hearing, say so. If you don't, keep it to yourself. And let's begin. Oh. I got that. Good. Okay. So who will benefit from this presentation? Well, this presentation is geared for accountants and bookkeepers. So this is who I intend to benefit from this program and have done so in the past. And what you might not think about is actually your clients can greatly benefit from event marketing as well too. Because there is ample opportunities to bring in your clients into the fold of event or marketing events, and allowing them to participate, which will strengthen your relationship with them. And probably even better to think about is introducing your current clients to other current clients so that they can form strong relationships as well too. I've seen so many wonderful things that have come out of these events. I think the coolest thing is I actually seen a couple get married that met at one of my marketing events, so that's pretty cool. And in this webinar, you're going to learn today about how to successfully plan an event from start to finish. You're going to learn about different events for different audiences and desired outcomes, how to drive a targeted audience to an event, and how to transform an event into an educational experience, not a sales pitch. And the average event can be planned in under 8 hours. So let's continue on. This is probably the most important slide that you should pay attention to in this whole deck. And I'm going to have this slide actually twice, so once here. So a properly planned event will generate $3,000 to $15,000 in new billable services. Now, that might seem like a lot to some, and maybe not that much to others, but I just want you to think about it. The average client that you currently deal with in the bookkeeping and accounting industry across Canada averages out about $3,000 per year. So if you put on a properly planned event and attract one new client to your business, there's your $3,000. The $15,000 is if you do a really good job and target it well, and add 5 new clients for an event, there's your $15,000. My best experience to date so far I have a firm down in Lethbridge, Alberta, that I was able to, over 3 events in 9 months, so one every 3 months. 2 years ago, took in 80 new clients because of the events that we did. So if you do the math, 80 times 3,000, that's about $240,000 of new billable services that they were able to provide to that client base because of the 3 events that we did. So it's quite astronomical how big events can be and how important they are, and that's why I felt it important to share for you. So, number one question I always ask when I meet new people is, how do you currently grow your business? And I just want you guys to think about that for a few seconds right now. Just going to meet some more people there. Hi, Connie. So, think about it. How do you currently grow your business right now? Most of you, in your mind's eye, are going to sit there and say to me that you exclusively get client referrals. Anytime I meet a new accountant and bookkeeper, and I've met thousands over the last 4 years, generally this is the common answer. Now, I find that a little bit scary on my part, because generally how it's related to me about client referrals is that you are passively waiting for your clients to go out and promote and sell your business to other people. Now, you might get a few people referring and talking about the good works you do, and I'm sure all of you do, but I like to be a little more aggressive in regards to planning my business there. I know that in the 20 years that I've been in sales and marketing there, if I waited for other people to promote me, I would probably not be able to afford to live in a 500 square foot apartment. So I take a more active approach, and I like to set up events. So what is an event? An event is just basically a planned public or social occasion. Nothing more. It doesn't need to be very salesy, but it does need to be strategic. So, when talking about events and weighing in on the pros and cons of doing so, because there is so many different forms of marketing and sales that you can do out in the industry, we're going to talk about some of the cons of doing an event that I hear from people when I talk to them first. So a lot of times people will tell me that, oh, I can't do an event. It's just too much work. I'm too busy to do that. Another thing that I hear oftentimes is, ooh, that sounds like it's going to cost a lot of money. And then, oh, if I did do an event, what would I talk about? And then other things is I'm already involved in other marketing activities, and I don't really think that adding another one on is going to help me out in my business. Some of the pros that I've experienced personally with my clientele is that they are great ways to increase relationships. So the whole idea about an event is basically to build relationships. Basically, information sharing is very easy when you get a multitude of people into a room and share information out. It greatly, when done properly, creates the ability to increase your brand awareness, credibility it offers to your business. My favorite part is connecting others. I've seen so many great relationships from my clients with third-party vendors, with other clients, and just the relationships that they establish with their current clients. The ability to give back. You guys are a wealth of information, and sometimes it's just nice to be able to share that out, and doing a good thing, good karma. And what I've noticed most of all is your competition. Out of the thousands of accountants and bookkeepers that I talk to, most probably I would, if I was to throw a number out, about 98% of them have never done an event or even thought about doing an event. So you're stepping into new grounds, and you really differentiate and set yourself apart from your competitors. When we talk about the cons of doing an event, the reality is those are the things that I hear from people. The reality is, as from what I've understand, is that an average event from start to finish, so literally saying, okay, I want to do an event, to the last person leaving the door, if done well, you can do it in under 8 hours. It doesn't take a massive amount of work. The average cost of my last 20 events is not a lot of money when you look at it. They usually range between $400 and $1,200 per event. Generally the $1,200 range is a nicer hotel room, and including some drinks in there, but it doesn't actually cost you a lot of money, especially when you look at the possibility of making even $3,000 on an event. That's a 3-to-1 return on investment. You can find a wide variety of interests and topics on the internet. So if you're not really sure what to talk about, there is all kinds of great information to steal from the internet. great salespeople. I like to think of myself as pretty good. Everything that I spout off and is basically something I stole from other people there. So you don't have to create it and build it yourself there. There's all kinds of good information out there. Now, I'm just going to mute you. I find today's society with the technologies that we have and the different marketing schemes, and I took marketing at NAIT here in Edmonton, Alberta, and I learned about all kinds of different forms of marketing. And why I prefer event marketing as opposed to all these different solutions out there is every other solution out there seems like you're trying to hide behind your desk, and they're not really designed to build relationships. They're more designed to, hey, I just want you to basically buy something and use my services, but I don't really want to get to know you. So it's kind of the spray and pray technique. I'm not here to teach you spray and pray. I'm here to teach you relationship marketing through event building and using tools to not just send out information and cross your fingers and throw stuff at the wall, but actually to strategically invite people to an event so that you can start building a relationship with them. So when you're sitting there thinking about an event, the first thing that you should think about is who should come to my event? Who is this event for? Now, I have, through my research and studies and doing events, basically nailed down 3 buckets. For accountants and bookkeepers, the 3 people or groups of people that you want to have come to your event are your people you're already doing business with, prospective clients, those are people that you wish to do business with, and influencers. When you're looking at events, you basically want to build your events around these 3 types of groups of people. Sometimes you can mix them, but I recommend that you should try to be specific and target those events, and it'll help you put on a better event. Now, not all people are created equal, and basically I am going to show you I actually think that the first group of people that you should entertain in an event is your existing clients, then prospective clients, then after that looking for influencers. Now, when you're targeting your current clients, existing clients, probably the number one thing is why you want to focus on them first as a thought for doing an event is they actually don't understand your current offerings. To the average small business owner, basically, I took up a word cloud here. These are the words that they associate with accounting and bookkeeping. Accounting and bookkeeping to the average business owner, you probably remember your first class as a bookkeeper or accountant in school, and you're going, oh, what did I get myself into? What's the difference between a debit and credit? That is your average client that you're dealing with. They don't usually understand all this terminology and jargon and how to reference it to their business. They're usually very good at doing their businesses. So what you need to do is you need to communicate all the offerings that you offer to your clients. And the reason is, this person and this group of people is the first bucket that you want to go after. It is far easier to sell products and services to existing customers than someone you don't have a relationship with. So you should always look within your current client base to put on an event if your goal is to increase your revenues, and because it's easier to obviously sell somebody that you've already sold to. Now, when you're looking at content for your current client base, you're like, okay, well, if I was to bring all my current clients into a room, what would I do and what would I talk about? So here is the easiest way to find relevant topics for your existing clients. What I would do is I'd build an Excel spreadsheet, as I've done here. And what I'm going to do is down the left-hand column, I'm going to list all my clients' business types. So I'm going to put their first name, last name, phone number, email, street address. And probably a lot of you have some kind of Excel spreadsheet built like this with this information. But this is the missing part that you're generally don't have in your Excel spreadsheet. What I recommend is putting down the services that you offer across the row on the top. And in this case, you can see here that, for example, Original Joe's is a restaurant. I do monthly bookkeeping services for them. If I have, silver, gold, platinum packages, what package that they're using. If I'm doing their payroll for them, how many employees they have, if I'm doing their personal or corporate taxes, and any other consultant services that I offer, I would list out in the top bar here and basically put that information in, put little X's in. What you'll want to do is look at here. So you build your whole list, and I would actually then rate the amount that I charge for each one of these services. And the service I charge the most for, that is the most commonly common missing service that my clients are not taking advantage of. So maybe it's cash flow analysis there. None of my clients are doing cash flow analysis, and I know I can make an extra $1,000 per month per client if they were just to take that. That's probably what I'm going to talk about as a topic on my event. So I invite them in. I would say, hey, and I would do a session on the benefits of cash flow analysis and how you do that and the technologies that you use. So there's programs like LivePlan, the third-party apps that you can tag on to QuickBooks Online that can talk about that. And that is where I would center my event, so that, if say you invite 20 people to the event and 3 of those people agree to do that, that's an extra $36,000 a year that you could be making just by having that event. Now, the event might have cost you $400 or $500 to put on, and so you can see that's a great return on your investment. So that is the best way, in my opinion, to find relevant topics for your existing clients, is talk about the services that you offer that they don't know. And here's kind of a little funny slide there. They always hear this saying, don't count your chickens before you hatch. Well, basically that's what I'm doing, is I'm taking an inventory of my assets right now, which are my clients and the services I provide, and basically I'm going to focus on selling those there. So I want to make an estimated amount of money that I can particularly take, and I might do 2 or 3 events over a year with my current client base and just add on to that. So that can make a significant revenue stream for you right there without having to go out and figure out how to find new people. Now, when you talk about events for existing clients, the results that I found is the general time frame that you want to run an event for is 2 to 3 hours. I find breakfast and dinner events generally the best for existing clients and the times associated. So 7:30 a.m. to 10:30 a.m. people can get up at that time. They usually have their kids off to school, and they can skip off of work for maybe an hour or two and come join your event. Or in the evening, 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. The only problem with the dinner events is sometimes people have children activities, so you got to be conscious of what age their children are at. How I would focus an event is that I want to highlight the services that I currently offer, as I mentioned in the previous slide. And if I was to send an email out to them, I would usually use the terms client appreciation is a great one, because everybody wants to be appreciated. If you just recently opened a new location or have never had a grand opening event, I'd recommend using the term grand opening. It's just a meet and greet, an opportunity for your clients to meet other existing clients, and then fireside chat, basically sit down. So these don't really seem salesy and will generally get people's attention to come. Now, the considerations that you want to think through there is generally in that 2 to 3 hour period, you want to spend an hour that allowing your clients to network with each other. So you might want to do a round table at the beginning of the meeting where everybody gets up that showed up and tell what they do for a business. Is a great idea, just as an icebreaker. Let your clients offer up their services to other people and intermingle. This is probably the best part about doing your client events right here, is this client conditioning. So when people tell me that they get referrals from their current clients, well, oftentimes you have not properly trained or conditioned your clients to say. So what I usually do is I'll plant in people's minds. I'll say, hey, you're my customer. If you happen to run across a business that does ABC, can you tell them about me and my services? And you might want to make that part of your event so that they're pre-programmed that when they're out there, because business people hang out with business people, and they talk to another business owner that's not currently your client, they will know exactly how to sell you and what you are not looking for. So they're not going to sit there and say, oh yeah, my accountant will do your corporate taxes if that's not kind of the tax work that you want to do. And then the process is about upselling the services that you currently offer and following through. The whole goal is to deepen the relationship with your current clients, twofold: A, to increase the services that they take advantage, but even if they don't take advantage of services, just to spend more face time with them and build that bond so that they're less likely to run off to somebody else. And that's basically it. Now, what I recommend is offering a door prize at these type of events. And the door prize is specific for current clients that maybe bring a prospective new client. Like as I mentioned earlier, all business people hang out with business people. So what you do is you throw a prize and say, if you bring somebody that I don't know that owns a business, don't bring your wife or husband. That's just going to be another person eating food and drinking. Bring somebody that is a business owner that's a friend of yours and bring them to the presentation. That is an opportunity to capture new prospective clients, and you do something like $100 door prize, and you put a draw in for every new person they bring in. Okay. So I'm just going to quickly show you guys some tools that I use, just being mindful of time here. And so some of the tools that I use to produce an event are the following. So Eventbrite. Most of you probably have used or heard about it. The great thing about the Eventbrite program, and this is what I used for the invitations for this event, is it's free. It's very quick and easy to set up. All you basically need to do is put a nice picture in there talking about your event, manage it. You can email through the program. I actually prefer to use other programs that email out the link for it, and it will give you stats on who's actually signed up and where the people are signing up from. So that's basically Eventbrite. I'm not going to spend a lot of time talking about that. Constant contact. So when people are looking to email out for events, I'm just going to log back in here. The tool that I find is probably the best bang for your buck is this constant contact program. It lets you make HTML, so pretty emails. And what I like about it is that the cost is only $15 per month, and that gives you, I believe, 500 emails sent out to your client base. Yeah, so 0 to 500 emails. General rule planning an event is you want to send out 10 times more invitations than the people you expect to show up to an event. So if you want 20 people in that room, you should send out 200 emails. So for $15, you can sign up for Constant Contact, use it for that one period of time, cancel your contract with them, and then maybe 3, 4, 5 months down the road, purchase the program again. So that is very cost effective for sending out emails instead of doing one by one. Just the $15 you'd spend with savings is well worth it. Another program that I like to use is this program called Bitly. The problem is oftentimes there when you do events, you'll have this long, ugly link. So here's, for example, this Eventbrite link. So I oftentimes will use Bitly. So basically all I do is go into Bitly, and it's a shortening tool that I paste in the link, and it'll create me a nice short little link here that I can post into an email. So Twitter, sensitive to the number of characters you use. So I like to post that. And also what it'll do is it'll track to see how many people have actually signed up. So here's some other marketing campaigns that I've previously done. It'll tell me exactly when people clicked on the link, and I can set that up accordingly. So if I'm trying to market towards different targets and I want to see where the people are coming from, I can follow through on that. And then SurveyMonkey is a good little program that is also free that you can use after the program. So after your event, you want to follow up and get feedback. You can use SurveyMonkey for free, create a survey and send that information out to them. You can see that I haven't used it since 2014, so I could probably do a better job for that myself, but it's a great program. And then fireside chat questions. So in regards to this event for the problem is you don't want to do an event that seems salesy. So what I like to do is kind of do this fireside chat idea. So I have a list of questions that I will work with my clients, and I'll say, hey, let's sit down at the beginning of the event after everybody's got settled and had their conversations. And what we're going to do is we're just going to go through a list of questions. So what is the best way to contact you and how often? That's a great question for your clients to know. So once again, you're conditioning them to know how to get in touch with you. Can you prepare me to survive a tax season? So some information, basically what you're doing is you're feeding them information in a non-salesy way so that they will understand how to work and deal with you. So, considerations that they should call you about, some of the services you provide. And it's a great way to flow that information to them without having like a PowerPoint presentation up front. So I highly recommend using the fireside chat for your current client base. Now, what I'm going to do after this presentation is I'm going to actually have a list of all the links for the signups. I'm going to have a bunch of resources and sample questions and products that I use for these events and have used with my clients put into the back of the presentation, just to be considerate of time that you guys can use and edit and play with yourselves. So we've talked about our current client base, and I'm at 10:56, so I'm about halfway through. Okay. The next client base that I want to target is my prospective clients. So these are people that I'm not currently doing business with that I want to engage with and do business. And they need to be treated and handled differently than your current clients. So current clients are about informing about the services and basically programming them so that they know how to operate with other businesses on your behalf. Prospective clients, there's a few other things that you're going to consider when you're going to be working for these people. First of all, they're probably going to cost you more time and effort and money, so that would be my second choice. Once I've exhausted completely all my services and every one of my current clients is using all my services. So, questions you need to ask yourself there when you're going after prospective people is the standard marketing: who, what, where, when, and why. My favorite question to consider when you're looking for new people is, what do they do? So you can ask yourself who they are, where to find them and stuff, but what do they do is really the most important part. And this gets into the area of what's called niche marketing, or as my buddy Jeff Bourgeois likes to say, niche. And basically all niche marketing is concentrating all your marketing efforts on a small and specific group of people. The key terminology right here that you need to understand is the niches don't exist. They're created. So you make a decision on identifying who you want to work with and what requirements those people require to have them work with you. And it's about being a big fish in a small pond instead of being a small fish in a big pond. Right now in Canada, there's about 14,000 accountants and bookkeepers that you are all competing with in some way, shape, or form. And if you're trying to compete with all those people, just randomly taking in everybody that comes into your business as a customer, it is very difficult to distinguish, market, and focus. And I generally find that the firms that have this approach are making the least amount of money. The people that I'm seeing that are making the most bang for your buck, return on your investment, time invested versus money made, are those people that work on niche marketing. So it's a very important skill set to work and develop. Now, for the people that want to do an event for people that are not current your clients, you're like, okay, well, how do I determine what niche I can work with and create? Well, here's my question I generally ask people. If you were to quit your current profession today as an accountant or a bookkeeper, which of your clients' businesses would you want to own? So think about that. Most of you probably have 20 to several hundred clients. If you were no longer an accountant or bookkeeper, what business gets you jazzed that you would want to go work and run with that? That is where I'd probably start with the niche market. And the reason is if you don't like real estate agents or engineers, don't work with them. You don't have to. You can pick. There's a world of abundance out there. You don't have to just take anybody that comes to your door and drops off their receipts there. So you can be very specific, but pick some business type that you'd be passionate about, and that's where I would start. Now, unlike your current client list, who you can basically just take and send a friendly email out to and say, hey, I got an event going on. Unfortunately, because of this CASL rule, which is good, Canada's anti-spam legislation, if you have not done business with them, which means that they have not purchased a product or service from you, you legally should not be emailing that person and soliciting them for business. So the tools for the individual client that you're dealing with using the program like Constant Contact is not going to work to just email out prospective clients. So you're going to ask me, Jeremy, well, how do I find prospective clients without breaking any laws and get them to come out to my event? That's a good question. I'm glad you asked. I have what's called my tic-tac-toe method. And so pay attention to this part there. It's going to be really good. So first things first, as I've said, okay, to myself, Jeremy, I really like my HVAC customers. I got a few of them. I understand their business. It's pretty cool. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to follow tic-tac-toe. I'm going to go to apps.com first. And I am just going to pull that up here to show you what apps.com looks like. So for you that are not aware, apps.com is a Intuit owned website that basically contains all of our app partners. So these are third-party programs that work with our QuickBooks Online program. And the cool thing is I can either go browse by category and pick out different programs that do different things beyond what QuickBooks Online generally does. I can view all the apps, but what I can also do is I can go to Canada and type in HVAC, type of business I'm interested in, and it'll say, oh, hey, these 3 programs here work with HVAC type companies. Hey, Jobber, those guys are from Edmonton. Those, you know what, I might be able to get them to come out to an event. Why don't I focus on an HVAC type event here in Edmonton and try to track those businesses? And I'll call Nick from Jobber to have someone from his team come over and do a presentation for me. That's pretty cool. And that's how that's the first thing I would do when it comes to events. And generally what I want to talk to prospective people, I want to talk about technology and really differentiate myself from other bookkeepers and accountants. So I'm going to talk about QuickBooks Online. I'm going to probably talk about Jobber, and I'll probably talk about HubDoc as well too. And I'll pick 3 core products that I know really well, or if I don't know them, I'll make sure that I understand them really well before I invite anybody out to a meeting. Okay, so that's the first thing I would do is, so that's my tick. Next thing is what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to Google, and I'm going to say, okay, Google, I need to, so I just go to my Google page. What I'm going to do is I'm going to type in HVAC, and I want to have people here in Edmonton, so I'm going to say, okay, HVAC in Edmonton. Now, in Google, what I really like about Google in the desktop browser edition there is I can click on this little map here. It says more places. And here you can see all the different HVAC companies that are available. Now, if you scroll all the way down to the bottom here, this is the really interesting part. I know from counting that there is 40 companies per page listed in Google settings. So if I look here and 7 times 4 is 280, well, there's 280 companies in Edmonton that I can invite out that do HVAC services, so I can bring them into my event, and I know that's about right for numbers. So if I want 20 people to show up at an event, I would invite all 280 of these people. And what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to start building an Excel spreadsheet. So I'll take an Excel spreadsheet, I'll copy and paste Action Augur's name and their phone number. I'll go to their website and I will steal the address off their website, which is generally under the contact information right here. And if I can get a name of somebody, usually you'll find under our team or about us. And I'll go, okay, Brian, these are the plumbers. Okay, I'll keep that in mind. And I'll build out the spreadsheet if I can get some emails. And I'll build that out. I'll spend about 2 hours building out that list of 200. I'll review it, and then I take a step further because once again, remember, because of Castle Law, I just can't email these people randomly. But here is a real good technique that I can use. So these guys are called gentlemen plumbers. I'll use LinkedIn. So what I'm going to do now, I have LinkedIn. I have Sales Navigator, which is about an $80 a month LinkedIn subscription. But what I'll do is I'll go in here, and it just opens up more abilities to build leads for people here. So I can come in here and I can type in keywords. So I can type in HVAC, and I can type in Edmonton. Okay, and it should be Edmonton, Canada. There we go. And I want to look for title. I probably want to talk to owners. So I'm going to put in their search. And here is all the companies that could be listed for HVAC and owners. And I can basically save this as a lead and build out a list. And then what I would do is I would individually contact there. So Rocco Homes Inc., I'd probably skip that guy. I'm actually going to go back to Gentlemen Plumbers, and I'm just going to type in Gentlemen Plumbers. And I'll find an individual that works for Gentlemen Plumbers. Generally, they'll have the owner in here. Let's say that this guy was the owner. Oops. I'm just going to pretend this guy was the owner for time's sake there for Gentlemen Plumbers. What I'm going to do is, you see that this guy's not currently in connection with me. but I didn't have so much running on my computer. It might be going a little bit faster there. Pick this guy. And this is how you get around the castle rules there. So what I do is I go to Kevin Stewart. Let's say that he is the owner of Gentleman Plumbers. I am going to pick the connect with Kevin. Now you'll see that this message right here comes up and allows you to just send a generic message. This is how I would do it. I would go, hello, Kevin. I am a local accountant or bookkeeper, whatever you are, that specializes in HVAC business here in Edmonton. I would love to connect and invite you to an event I am hosting next month. Please accept my connection and I will forward a link to register. Okay, it's a little bit more manual. Fix your spelling mistakes. And there you go. I would send this invitation to Kevin. Now, the cool thing about LinkedIn is that on the main page right here, you'll see on the side, it'll say new connections, people that have connected with you, actually right here. So Bill Kennedy's viewing my profile, awesome. And people that have connected with you and such like that. So if you see the guy connect with you, then you just send him the link. The problem is in LinkedIn, you can't send links in here. Like if I try to take this bit.ly link, I try to add this there, and I hit send invite. Oh, it's not supposed to send it, but it just did. That's going to look really awkward and weird for that guy. But anyways, so you're supposed to send that. You send that out, and if they accept it, then you know that they're interested. You send them the Eventbrite link. They sign up. They come out to your event, and there's an opportunity. And you focus your event on speaking about the program, and that's a way to get around the castle rules. Well, legitimately finding people that are looking for your type of business. So that's tic-tac-toe. So once again, apps.com, Google search. Remember, it's 40 pages per listing. You want about 10 times the people. And then Wing Sales Navigator. So for prospective clients, I like to do a little bit shorter events. I'd like to do it 1 to 2 hours. So basically, I take out the networking portion. I find breakfast and lunch events are generally the easiest to get people out to. And what you want to do is you basically want to have, for the event emails or the contact, you want to include the terms learn how to, for free, reduce tedious admin tasks, stay off CRA's radar. So stuff that they're having pains and problems with. You want to plant existing clients. So if you already have 3 or 4 existing clients that are doing HVAC services, what you want to do is you want to plant them at your event and have them work the room and basically talk on your behalf, saying that, yeah, I'm actually currently a client of Joe Blow, and they do an awesome job and all these great things there, and do that. And then what I would do is I'd kind of reward the people that are current clients that are willing to take the time out by maybe giving them a gift certificate or something like that to help sell you at the event. And then get them to talk about pain points. And then the goal is not so much to sell them. You want to introduce cool things that you do that their current accountant bookkeeper does not do, but it's about to get a lunch appointment. So this is where the follow-up after the event really pays off, and you want to get a lunch meeting or a face-to-face session with them where you can come in their office and really personally explore their issues and pains and offer them up some solutions there and the benefit to basically take advantage of your services. In this case too, what I would do is I'd have a door prize where I exchange it for business cards. Now, we got 20 more minutes, so I am doing good here on time there. And I'd ask if anybody had any questions, but I have you all on mute, so I'm just going to continue on. Okay, influencers. So, influencers are the third bucket that I would focus on. And I personally work with a lot of influencers. Jeff Bourgeois, who's on the line, he is probably one of my favorite influencers in the accounting bookkeeping industry. If any of you have a pen and paper right now, you should write down QB-HQ, which is the Facebook group that was created by Rachel Fish, who is a phenomenal influencer here in Canada for bookkeepers. And they got about 1,000 accountants and bookkeepers across Canada in that group. And that's only about a year-old group too there. So there's people like that that are influencers. Now, that's one type of influencer. And the definition really of an influencer is just a person that has an above average impact on a niche process. So these are people that are connected to media outlets, consumer groups, industry associations, or communities. To make it easy for you there, when you're sitting there trying to find an influencer, here is a group of influencers I put together that you guys can think of. The people you want to focus on are the green ones. So if you're a bookkeeper, influencers for you are accountants. If you only do bookkeeping work, you should probably sit there and think about an event inviting accountants out and highlighting the opportunities and why you're the best bookkeeper in your city and why all the accountants should refer the business that they don't want to do for the bookkeeping to you. And then vice versa. If you're an accountant, you should have a regular meeting with local bookkeepers to get them to come out so that they can send business to you and do great accountant work and work with that. App partners are a fantastic source too. So if you build a relationship, say, with the guys at Jobber, you got to realize that Jobber probably has about 50,000 clients in North America right now. Maybe have them do a webinar with you for the local city that you work in with their current clients that live in that thing and talking about just standard bookkeeping services or understanding taxes. So put on some kind of event. It could be a webinar. It doesn't have to be in person. Bankers are a great source of referrals. This is one thing you need to understand is the commercial bankers that are out there in the market are salespeople. They're generally commission salespeople or have some kind of association with commission based on their salaries. So their whole idea is they want to work with small businesses and get them approved for loans as easily and quickly as possible so they can move on to the next person, therefore making more money. So if you invite, say, put on an event for bankers and show why your company is the best person to work that they should be referring their clients to because you do good, clean work so they can rubber stamp those loans, that's a great source of influencers. And then what most people forget about is your existing clients. All your existing clients are pros in some sort or form or fashion, especially if they're successful and you know which ones are successful. Maybe look at doing an event for them where they have clients they deal with where you can teach about bookkeeping services, or maybe they can come and talk at one of your events. Maybe have somebody that is an expert in human resources or insurance for small businesses, and maybe you want to bring your group of clients together and have that one individual expose their business to that, and that's just helping out. Okay, so those are the influencers. So think a little bit beyond just the regulars. Now, here is a quick and easy and dirty way to find out who is actually a good influencer. There's a program called Clout on the market, and basically Clout is a social media ranking system, and I'm just going to show you mine here. So Clout is free. Clout basically connects with your Twitter account, Facebook account, LinkedIn account, your YouTube account, Google Plus account, and what it does is shoots you a score. So now my score here is 52, which is actually pretty good. It's on a scale of 0 to 100. Now Obama and Justin Bieber are like 99. So basically, if Justin Bieber says, "Hey, I bought some new Nikes," 100,000 people are going to run out and buy some new Nikes. I'm not quite there yet. However, it's not perfectly ratioed. So 50% doesn't mean like I'm just a passing grade. 50 is actually quite a hard number to achieve. The average person, when you start out in Clout with your score, you'll probably recognize that you're probably going to be around 14 to 17 is your number. And then basically every 10 is basically like 100 times more exponentially difficult to get there. So I've been floating a score of social media score probably of between 47 and 53 for about 2 years right now. And I probably put about 2 hours a day into monitoring my social media accounts and thinking about stuff. Now, why I mentioned about Clout is once you connect it and you go to your Twitter feed, you'll see here that anybody else that has social media presence there is going to start doing a score. So many of you probably know Jessie Bull. She is very, very active. Like, she did 24.3 thousand tweets in the last 2 years there. So she's an Intuit employee, and you can kind of see the scores there. And I know Bill Kennedy is on the phone here, and I saw him, and he's actually got an impressive score there too. So if I go actually type in Bill Kennedy, and there you go. Bill's at a 56. So Bill is a popular guy on social media. Probably the best in Canada is a guy named Brad Salamanis. And he is, spelled his name wrong. There we go. He's about a 60-something score there. Yeah, 62 score. So this guy here is probably the most social guy. He's out of Calgary, Alberta. And what you can do is you can find the people in the social network. So if they have a higher score than you, then you're probably going to be a good person to follow social media wise there, and look to have them influence you. And I'm just going to mute that because there we go. So social media scores, that's basically a good, easy way to track it for free, is basically sign up and attach Clout to all of your accounts. Now, also some cool things too that Clout does for you is it will show you you're an expert. So I'm actually ranked in the top 0.1 percentile of the world and people that talk about accounting and bookkeeping. I'm the top 0.2 business development and QuickBooks. So I'm considered an expert in those areas. The funny thing is I'm not even an accountant or a bookkeeper, and I would never even profess that I'd be good at those things. But I'm really good at marketing. Now, this is another thing that I find. I got some time. What I like about Clout is if you click on schedule, measure, where is it here again? So there's your numbers. What would you like to talk about? Okay, let's go to accounting. So it'll actually show me some people. So Doug Sleater, I'm ahead of Doug Sleater now. He's actually very, very famous. You can talk about articles. Now, there is a way too that you can post. You can actually attach an attachment on Clout onto your Google browser. So let's say I found a good article. What I can do is I can click on this little Clout button on the website. So let's see here. Let me just do accounting news. Get a little off topic here, but I just want to show you this cool feature. So let's say this real cool article I found. I can actually click on the little Clout button here, and it's going to put it together in a nice little article. And what I can do is I can actually schedule this, and it'll tell me the best time to share it, and I can hit schedule, and I can share it to Facebook or Twitter, and I can boom, hit that. Now, what I generally do is I'll sit down Monday morning, and I purposely try to pick about 10 to 15 articles that are produced, and I'll schedule them throughout the week at the best time. So people think that I'm very busy on social media and posting stuff. I've actually only sat down for, maybe an hour or two on the Monday morning, but I get a whole week's worth of content, and then I get likes and shares and everything like that, and that pumps up my score. And so that's a good tool that everybody here on the phone should be using. But I digress. So let's get back to our presentation. So that's how to find influencers in the market, then just build relationships with them and try to figure out ways to do events with them. When you have an influencer type event, generally duration for a good time is 1 to 2 hours. So me and Jeff Bourgeois have done a ton of breakfast and lunch events together. The guy is awesome to listen to, and generally the best time is 7:30 to 9:30 or 11 to 1. Focus on thought leadership, especially technology and differentiation, shown to people. So you can either have these thought leaders bring in their client base so you can promote your information to them, or you can have them come in and promote to your current clients or prospective clients that information. And basically the idea is intro to my business and why we're the best. Engage influencers early and get their help to generate lead up and buzz to your events. Capture key moments at events and photos. So back to the Twitter thing. I hope you guys are posting some stuff on Twitter and social media for this education piece. Like, so again, if you liked it. And the goal generally at these events is to get lunch meters and face-to-face sessions with the people that you're targeting. And this can be in a whole different realm of areas. Okay. we're almost at the end here. Event basics. So event basics, things that you need to think about. Standard practices that I try to think about are that I generally don't want to do an event larger than 20 to 40 people. I've done events as much as 130 people. But they're not very interactive or social. Usually it's a lot of people just staring at me, and I usually have some kind of PowerPoint presentation, and it's very salesy. I like the 20 to 40 people events and working there. Event space. So you always got to think about your event space. Affordable. You want a clean environment, something comfortable. Look for free parking, easy access. So here in Edmonton, I generally avoid anything downtown. I try to usually book stuff on the south side or the west end, anywhere close to the Anthony Henday, so that it's easy to get to. Everything in Edmonton is an 18-minute drive. Think about the food that you're offering. It doesn't have to be a lot. Oftentimes for my events, I'll get my buddy Sonny that owns a pita pit, and I'll just order pitas and salads and stuff like that, and then have him bring in a bunch of pop, and we'll go from there. I like to, for my evening events, serve alcohol. Generally, it's about $100-200. You buy a couple bottles of white, couple bottles of red, and basically buy a flat of Miller Genuine Draft, and anything left over you get to keep. You always got to think about equipment. So you should always think about Wi-Fi, especially in this cloud-based technology presentations. You want to make sure that they have good internet access. I know that one time I did a training event at West Edmonton Mall where the internet cut out for 2 hours. Trying to talk about QuickBooks Online for 2 hours with no Wi-Fi is very difficult. Projector screens, go buy, own them. Projectors, you can get a good screen for $100-200, and projectors a good one for about $500-600. Door prizes. Always remember to buy your door prizes a day or two before the event. I usually like to buy technology gadgets. My favorite go-to is the Google Chromecast dongle that you can plug in through HDMI either into the back of a projector or a television. I like to use it for my projector, and when I'm showing apps on my phone, I can stream my phone screen through the projector for people to see. And it's just a good giveaway. It takes dumb TVs and turns them into smart TVs. And make sure you have business cards. And unlike myself, make sure that the phone numbers are correct on it too. I got 1,000 set from that I didn't realize I had the wrong phone numbers on, and people are like, "Why aren't you returning my calls?" So those are some key things that you want to think about events and the basics. I am going to show you one more slide, or actually 2 more slides here, and then I'll open up some questions, and I'm very proud that I'm actually on time here. So many of you are sitting here on the phone going, "Hey, Jeremy, this sounds great. I hope you guys learned something today about how to strategically think about an event. There is more to it than just what I went through, but I wanted to be cautious of time. The cool thing is Intuit has an event sponsorship promotion going on. So if you want to run an event for your client base, either for your current clients, prospective clients, you want to get in touch and do events with thought leaders, we have our inside account managers. That's what an IAM stands for, or business development managers like myself. You probably have somebody local that works for Intuit. If you want to do an event and you want to co-host it with us, we will give you up to $1,000 in event allowance. So if your event costs $1,000, we will cover up to $1,000 in costs. We'll also help you provide some resources, so some handouts, some banners, some tablecloths and stuff like that with your logo and our logo on it. There's a little bit more detail than I'm providing right now, but for the sake of time, just reach out to your local inside account manager, business development manager. If you are not 100% sure who that is, email me direct. My email address is Jeremy. It's Jeremy _ Burke, Burke, at Intuit, which is Intuit.com. And just say, "Hey, Jeremy, this is where I live. Who's my inside or outside account manager?" And I will forward that off to the right person. They can start that communication with you. Now, to wrap it all up, why did you spend an hour of your time with me? Well, it is the best return on investment. A properly planned event, like I said, will generate $3,000 to $15,000 in new billable services. It's been proven. It's been done. If you want it to happen for you, you just got to basically go for it. If you want a little help, feel free to ask myself or my teammates, and we'll be more than happy to help you out with that. And that is a blank screen. So I am going to go back to, and let's go here. We'll do that. And boom, we'll get to that back, that original page. And actually, let's going to go to this one here because it has a little Twitter hashtag on it. So if you liked what I did today, please put hashtag Intuit Marketing 101. I'll send out an email to everybody that signed up for the event and give them this deck, a recording of the deck, and also those extras that I'll be adding into the deck as well too. So there's some questions here. And if anybody wants to hit mic or ask open live questions there, feel free, go ahead. And looks like Corey was doing a good job answering the questions. Thank you very much, Corey. Riches are in the niches there. That must be a Jeff Bourgeois answer. Okay, I'm interested in meeting other people who work with charities. Okay, and that was Bill. Bankers can't officially recommend you, but I find that they're always willing to do it privately. Okay, I wasn't aware of that. See, out here in Alberta, we do a little bit differently. I think everything is, you have to have a friend before you do any business out here. And you got to always focus on making sure you make friends with people before you try to ask them for their business. Awesome webinar, DC, no? Okay. Anybody want to ask me any questions on the phone? Drink some cold coffee.
Hey, Jeremy, can you hear me?
Yeah, who's this?
Yeah, this is Corey. So I'm actually with with someone here, and they're curious to know when you have these door crasher prizes, do you have like certain price ranges, or like what's your kind of strategy on that?
Okay, so I generally do a 1 to 10 ratio. So $100 to every 10 people that are coming to the event is usually what I like to spend. Now, for me, it's easy because I'm usually spending Intuit's money. So, I put it on my little black credit card and Intuit pays for it. But 1 to 10 is a good ratio. Like I said, if you're spending, if you spend $800 to $1,000 for an event total, like a room is generally $300 to $500. Oh, and this is one thing I forgot to mention. Before booking any room or caterer, look at your client list and ask yourself, does anybody have a room big enough that I can do that? Your clients will love you if you sit there and say, hey, I'll flip you $100 there if you let me use your big room in your building. Or if your client is a caterer or owns a restaurant, to basically use them always first. Think of your customers always first and see if you can generate some business for them first. They'll love you for it. Anybody else? And I'm just trying to see if actually anybody in here is people that I've done events with here. There's questions in chat. Excellent presentation. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Is anybody here willing to go try out an event there. Now, after seeing this presentation there, do you have any ideas on what you want to try, or you want to talk about? Anybody specifically want to talk about an event that they plan on going at?
Hey, Jeremy.
Yeah.
One question here. So there's a good question here in the comment section. So I want to make sure we address that before we go. And it's, what do we do if no one comes to the event? Do you have a plan B? And the follow-up question that I've got here is, I know that we've spoken about this before. You're a big fan of kind of creating your own event, and you had some, I guess, thoughts about, say, attending a trade show. And I'm wondering that could you maybe run through that quickly? That might be something that people here find valuable as well.
Good. Okay. So it does happen when you do plan for an event that nobody shows up to, or one or two people show up. So the first things first is the 10 to 1 rule. So you should always invite 10 times more people than you want to show up to the event. So if you rent a room for 20 people, invite 200. Also, when you're inviting people out, you want to always create an event about a month to a month and a half ahead of time. I've created events 2 weeks and a week ahead of time. They usually sometimes work out, sometimes don't, but give yourself a month and a half. When you're sending email communications out specifically to your current client base as well too, you generally want to send 3 emails. So you send email 1 month ahead, 2 weeks ahead, and a couple days ahead. And what you do is you break down your list. You say, okay, here's the 200 people in my list of my current clients that I want to invite. So you send out, and what happens is generally on the first email, 20 to 30% of the people that you send it to will open the email. Then what you do is you look at the people that registered, you remove them from the list. 2 weeks before the event, you'll email the list of people that have not accepted the invite and email them again, and you'll generally see about another 10% of new people open up the email. And then on the third one, a couple days ahead, same thing. Just pull out the names that have already registered and email them again, and there you go. That should be enough to secure your event. Average market and industry, if you do a good email 3 times to the same base, 40% of people will open it, and 20% of the people, the total list, will sign up, and 10% minimum will show up. So that's why those are the numbers for event marketing to prevent that situation. Now, if you put on an event and only 2 people show up, you give it the best damn shot that you can, and what you do is you lick your wounds after and just say, okay, what can I do better next time? And usually what it is time, and the list is not large enough. Which when you want to consider doing an event for your current client base. And so sometimes I run into clients that only have maybe 30 clients. And they go, okay, so if you do the 10 to 1 rule, well, that's only 3 people that's going to show up. So you need to start thinking about a prospective / current client list type event, and that's where you start dipping into the other category. So that was the question when you fail, and then making my own topics versus the trade shows. The problem I see with trade shows, and time in, time out, again, every trade show I've ever been to, is people pay $300 to $500 for a table. And you have all the people in your industry that are your competitors, or people that are sitting there hoping people will just walk by and magically love your booth. And you're generally investing a couple $1,000s into these trade shows. And then they walk by and they're like, it's kind of like Costco sample food. They'll take your food and your time, but they don't really care about you and your business there. It's a low, you might get one new client, and so you spend $2,000 for a booth and prettying it all up in your whole day of business, but you might get one client out of it. It's a $3,000 return. I rather be more proactive and bring people away from my competitors and have them all to myself so that I can communicate the messages I want to communicate. And I bet you'll find a higher rate of return doing it yourself. And it probably would take you actually less time, because a trade show is generally 8 hours. You're going to be sitting in a booth, standing around, your feet are going to get sore. Why not just spend an hour to 3 hours with people, but spend the whole 8 hours invested? And I seen a good quote actually from my boss this morning. She was Abraham Lincoln that said it. If it took 8 hours to chop down a tree, I'd spend the first 6 sharpening it in my axe. And that's pretty much the way I feel about trade shows. So, trade shows are standing around wasting your time. Whereas if you plan your own event yourself, you spend the same amount of time but get better results. Is that a good answer? Give me a thumbs up.
Hey, Jeremy.
Yeah. Sounds like Sarum.
Wondering if you have, it is. Wondering if you do put on a successful event, how do you go about following up with your people that show up? What's the best way to do that?
You know what? Honestly, phone calls is probably like send out a survey to your group. You can see that I'm not a fan of surveys by the last time I actually used the survey. And this is probably the part where I personally fail on the most is that follow-up. But that is key to the event. It's basically collecting, what is it? Sowing your fields. Usually planted all the seeds. You're not trying to sell them at the event, but what you want to do is you want to call your clients after that showed up and say, hey, what did you think about the event? How would you like to go book a lunch? Or how would you like me to come by your office? And is there any of those services that I talked to you about that are of interest? And basically just ask them, hey, is there anything of interest? Book a time to go meet with them in their office or meet them for lunch and really dig into it. And you'll find that if you go through that process, that's where you capture most of your clients, because people are not generally going to call you up and go, hey, that was a great event there. I want you to sell me that new service and let's get started today. It doesn't happen that way. So you still have to put that follow through work on it.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yeah. All right. We're 7 minutes over. I will give one last opportunity for questions. And if not, I will hang up and I will get together, putting all that stuff together and email out. And I will follow up with the people that are my clients to see in this list. And if you are currently not living in Edmonton, Alberta, and are interested more in this, feel free just to send me a quick email right now, and I'll make sure that your account manager gets in touch with you to help you plan an event. And or if you want to take advantage of Intuit's money, we can help you out with that as well too. Thank you everybody for attending. I hope it was good. Any feedback would be good. If you've seen a particular topic that you'd like to dive further into, I bet you we could probably spend another 8 hours really going through the mechanics of these events and how to use the tools